So, the original idea of this backtesting session is we are going over the December price action on a 50-minute time frame, because I just simply want to prove the point that the market is fractal and we can kind of utilize the same ideas that we are running on 1 minute basically on any time frame. So that's the reason for that. Also, I don't really think so any of us knows the price action of 2018, and definitely not on 50-minute time frame. So it will be fun, I hope. I just mark out the liquidity points. Basically, the orange lines represent liquidity points on above us, below us, and yeah, we'll do the same thing that we are doing on the 1 minute time frame. We will just run it on 50-minute. So yeah, we can kind of expect bigger ranges, but other than that, all should be the same. What we can see right here in just hindsight, positive manipulation.
I'm sorry, you're not streaming.
Jeez. Okay. Okay, so I will start again. Alright, so the original idea of this backtesting session, we'll run the 50-minute time frame. Basically, we'll go over the December's price action of 2018, since December is around the corner. Might be pretty interesting PA. Also, like I said, I don't really think any of us knows the price action of 2018, and definitely not on the 50-minute time frame. So yeah, I mark out liquidity points. The orange lines, the orange lines represent the liquidity above us and the below us. And yeah, we can kind of expect bigger ranges, but other than that, everything should be the same. And yeah, we'll do the same thing as we have done many times before. So also in hindsight, manipulation, sub fair swing and distributing higher, we are taking the smooth highs up here, so possibly we can kind of expect us running those highs again. Possibly we do have smooth highs right here, also LR, so that is kind of my draw right now until we will have some sort of manipulation in opposite direction. Okay, so also I can do this. Alright, so new day is opening. We created NDoc right here. Basically created this gap, very big one. Okay, so now we should be taking basically those highs on the left, these orange lines, and yeah, we'll go from there. We soup the previous candle high, meaning right now we can kind of expect little retracement into the range. Also, as we know, every candle is a range by itself. So if I would just put my Fib tool for the candle low to the candle high, we can do that. So now, from what we learned, we can kind of expect retracement to the 50% of the range, and then we want to see some sort of reaction out of it. If we are bullish, we want to see some sort of bullish reaction. If we are bearish, we preferably just slice through it and yeah, go lower. We took some sort of internal highs right here, gonna push it back lower into that 50% of the range. So now we'll just wait for a bit. Internal sub of the previous candle, we can still expect lower prices. Okay. So still, right now, no touch zone. There is nothing screaming at us. Okay, now, internal sub right here, we are still holding that EQ of the range. Meaning, if you would be able to close above 815 high, I will be looking for potential long targeting at least that 615 candle high. That is pretty much the easy target that we should reach after we close at 8.15. Okay, we are not closing yet, but we can kind of anticipate that we will close right here. Okay, we are closing. It's not the best closure, but still we are closing. We have sub right here, CISD. So now I want to see us taking the highs again. In terms of our stop, the best stop loss placement is down here. You could also argue that we don't want to see us coming back into the range and retesting, you know, the EQ or OTE. But for sake of this, I will just put it to the sub low right here. Confirm. Like I said, the first TP will be the range high. Most preferably, we should go and basically take some sort of liquidity on the left. Okay, we can see kind of we are expanding higher. We are taking the highs right here. What I don't necessarily like, we just printed 5 consecutive candles going higher, taking the liquidity, which is a little sus. Okay. We kind of started accumulating above the previous highs, which is nice. Also, if you want to start some sort of rebalance, this is our current range. Swing low of 8.15, sorry, of 8.45, the range high of 10.15. So now again, we need to see if we hold EQ, OTE, but most preferably I want to see us holding these previous highs of 6.15 candle. This is the area where I want to see us hold strongly. Also, the good question to ask, is this move manipulation? I don't think so. For that, I will need to see definitely more, and the confirmation for that being manipulation would be basically closing below this little range right here. Until then, this move is just rebalance. Also, right now, what's the confirmation for higher? The confirmation for higher would be the closure above 11.45 candle. That will be our confirmation. Right now, if we'll be able to close below this 0045 candle, I would be a little skeptical about the longs. Right now, we should hold this area. Also, if you want to go a little in depth, you know, this is our range that we are playing in. We are inside the OTE, so now we should just run higher, but that's a little too zoomed in. Okay, right now we are again closing over the highs. That means I want still to see higher. Possibly we do have this orange line, which we might take. Also above that orange line there is this accumulation, and as we know, every accumulation is basically order block on different time frame. So if I would go to, I don't know, maybe 2-hour time frame, 3-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame, this would be order block on that time frame. Okay. So we're expanding higher. We sub the high right there. Not necessarily a huge fan of that, but still everything's okay. Okay, internal sub. Another internal sub right here. Also, this kind of looks 3-drive-ish. First drive, second, third. Can also reduce our risk right here. Okay, so now we are closing above the orange line. We are tapping, I believe, that OB on the left. So we'll see how we react here. Now if this is our manipulation, we need to see closure below here, preferably possibly below that 230 zone right there. If it's not manipulation and this is just retracement, again 50% of the range, previous highs, etc, etc. You know the drill. Okay, so now if this is our manipulation, we can't close above that 345 candle. So now, opposite scenario, if this is manipulation, this is soup, and this is fair swing, we need to see closure below that 430 line, meaning this, right now we will be creating the fair swing, and then we shouldn't come back to that high. So since we are in long, we'll wait if we will be able to close below 430, and if we close below 430, we will enter short. Our stop would be whatever fair swing will be placed in, and then we'll be targeting, let's say, it depends. Always EQ is a perfect target, but since this is just possible 3 drive, we have end dog right here. Yeah, we could go lower than internal soup on that candle. Also, that candle is nearly closing below that 445. If you get strong closure below that candle, that's kind of strong indicator that we should go lower. Okay, nothing yet. Now we are closing below that 430. So like we said, we'll close our long and we can enter short right here. We can put our stop loss to that fair swing. Why? Because if we are correct and this is our manipulation soup fair swing, we should not come back into here until we'll finish our job, you know, down there. We just might, you know, take the 50%, we may take the internal liquidity, or we may just go for the end dog. Doesn't matter. Some sort of liquidity will be taken. We retested that CISD right there. So now we should go lower. The closure below 145 should be possible, you know, spike for bigger price movement lower, possibly taking that 7:30 p.m. low. So now we took liquidity right here, meaning we can kind of expect some sort of retracement of the range, meaning this is the range high, this is the range low. So now 50% needs to hold. If not, and this is just basically retracement of the bullish range, taking the internal lows right here, we need to see closure above 6 a.m. candle. Then I'll be looking for highs to be taken once again. Internal sub right there. Possibly closure below that 715 should be the next spark, meaning if you are not in a trade anywhere in here, the closure below that 715 could be the good opportunity, taking, you know, the stop loss at the 8 a.m. candle and targeting that low of 845 if you still think that we are bearish. Okay, right there is a closure. We are getting close to that 9:30 mark, basically the market open. And there is it. Okay, so market opened. Basically we took internals right here. We left this protected high right here, and we are closing basically below that 9 a.m. creating sort of CISD right here. Also we sub the liquidity right there. So for now, I would say it's more no touch. I would definitely not just, you know, when sell here and hoping that it will just take the end dog right here. We need to wait for something more clean. Okay, we are pushing lower. Since we are in two cones, we can definitely take at least one off. Okay. So now, for now, we just retested the CISD. If we would be able to close above 930 mark, then it would be more bullish than bearish. For now, this is just retracement. It's a scary one, it's a big one, but just retracement for now. Okay, since now we are closing below the 10 AM, this was just rebalance for the shorts, and now I should be looking for possibly bigger displacement lower. Since we are in a trade already, we can just trail our stop. If we would be in a trade, this could be the perfect spot for entry right here. Targeting, I mean, there is nothing much to target here. Basically, we could just target the 50% of the NDOC or 75, 25% or the low of it. Yeah, it's up to you. Internal soup, we respected 50% of the range right here. This candle closing like it closed, the low should be taken at least one more time. Okay, there it is. We are also closing strongly below it, meaning right now I don't see us really coming back for these highs. Also, in our mind, if we are bullish, the closure above 1130 might indicate some bigger push higher, possibly rebalance or maybe reversal. But for that, this would be our manipulation, which it's a little too early to tell. Okay. So now again, if this manipulation, soup, possible fair swing, we need to see strong closure about the 1130 mark. Okay, we're not closing yet. Alright, so now we sub the lows again. I don't think we went into the 50% of the NDOC. Yeah, it's more like 25, but it's alright. Right. So now the closure above 115 candle could kind of indicate that we want to push it back higher. The same thing as here, you know, for now this is just the rebalance of the bearish range, but also like this could be the manipulation. Okay, internal sub right there. With candle like this, I would kind of expect us taking these highs again, or the high of the 1 PM candle. Okay, we took it there. I don't necessarily like how we just printing these candles. This as well could be just internal sub right here, and then the closure below that 3 PM candle would mean that, you know, this is just internal soup that will you know, take us even lower. So just wait for that. Okay, we close above that 115 candle, but we are not respecting the high of it, at least for now. Internal sub right there, basically retested 50% of the small range. Okay, I kind of push a little too much. Okay, now the closure below 8:15, I'll be looking for the lows to be taken at least one more time. Also, the candles will most probably be just a little small, you know, like here, little choppiness, and yeah. Okay, little accumulation. Now we are closing below this little accumulation right here, and now this should be the spark of the move that will take us to the low of that 2 p.m. candle, and then possibly we could be looking for, you know, a little deeper price movement inside that end dog, and you know, we still do have the liquidity below us, so we can enter right here. We can put our stop loss. The stop loss right here wouldn't be the worst idea. We might leave it a little breathing room and put it right here. So now the first TP, the scared partial, would be the low of 2 p.m. candle, and then we'll be looking for, you know, some sort of manipulation or anything that will indicate the price move. Price could go against us. Okay, now we are taking the lows. We can take one off. Internal sub right here, and I do believe this right here should be the 50% of the end dog that we are looking for. Yeah, near to it. Okay. So now again, if then scenarios, if we'll be able to close about that 11 p.m. candle, I will be a little skeptical about the shorts. If you know, we'll just revert this candle, creating the order block, I'll be looking for lower prices. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, great candles. So now the same thing, you know, the closure above that midnight candle, I'll be a little skeptical. Why? Because then we're creating the CSD right there, you know, and possibly we might go higher from there, meaning we can put our stop loss right above that order block. Okay. We can also kind of trail the stop loss, depends on your risk management and your style. Okay. Do you remember what I told you? Like, if this candle is closing about the previous candle, that's pretty significant. These moves cannot mark the lows and tops of the moves. If you go back and just backtest the highs and lows of the moves, this is kind of significant. So now the same thing, if the price will go above that midnight candle, I'll be more, you know, more careful for shorts, and I'll be possibly looking for a long entry to at least rebalance some of the range. Internal sub right there. We are pushing. Okay, we are out. So now we are closing out at midnight. Do we want to take a trade right here? We could, but I don't want to, because we just printed basically, you know, like 6-7 straight green candles going higher. It might happen that we'll just run right here, you know, and take the highs, or, you know, take the liquidity right here. It might happen, but I want to wait for retracement. Like Punk said, you know, we just want to wait for the retracement of the discount in this scenario, and then possibly we might find a next entry for longs. If not, you know, nothing happened. Okay, internal sub at the high. Also right now, if we would be able to close above the 315 candle, that could mean that, okay, like this is for now the low, we are creating order block, and then I would like to see us just running, meaning we could enter after we close about a 315 candle, put our stop at the 330 candle low, and then we can just, you know, just put our TP for these internal highs, or, you know, these smooth highs right here, possibly even higher. So yeah. Okay, so we are closing below that 345 candle. So now I wouldn't be surprised if we go a little lower. Also, this is our current range. So now we just hit 50% of it. Okay. So now we need to see at least closure about that 430 candle. Then if you'll be able to do that, I'll be looking for at least taking the high of 315 candle. After that, right here, we do have smooth highs right here, and also this kind of protected high could act as target right now if you will switch, you know, switch from sell program to buy program. But also, is this my, you know, my manipulation right here? Could be manipulation soup. Right now we're in the Ferris swing. We will see. Okay, we soup the previous candle. The same candle is closing about at 430 candle, meaning we can enter right here. We can enter right there. We can put our stop loss below the same candle. Why? Because if we flip that candle, my idea would be kind of, you know, just rejected, because then I'll be looking for taking the lows again, more possibly than the highs. So now, depending on your style, you could take the partial right here at high, but we should run at least for, yeah, that 40-ish range right here for these smooth highs. Nice. It also depends, like if you just sweep that high of 315, yeah, you could take some of it off, you know, just to protect yourself. But with these closures, I wouldn't be so surprised if you just take that high of 845 candle. Okay, there's nothing yet. Still closing higher. Alright, the can close like this, basically again below that previous candle of 6 AM. So now, okay, this is our range. Okay, retesting the previous candle. Okay. So now we are tapping the OTE. I don't see us necessarily come lower than this. Basically right now we will be just basically respecting or retesting that order block of 430. Right now we can kind of put our stop to that low, because if we would be able to just close below it again, I'm looking for the lows to be taken. So we can just, you know, put it right here, confirm. Okay, we are again closing higher. I don't necessarily like how we just, you know, doing that staircase again. So could be possible to redrive again to just run it back lower. I'm still thinking that we should take at least these highs right here, if not that high of 330. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. Okay, we took those highs right there. We can take one off. We took one off. We can put our stop loss to break even, or we can leave it right here because, yeah, again, if we are bearish, we need to see closure below that 730. So we can also leave our stop, you know, where it is, and yeah, we'll just wait. Also, market open is around the corner. Okay, market open, basically sub the highs, can rebalance the range. So nothing interesting yet. Okay, looks like possible accumulation after market open. Right now we do have internal sub at the highs. Okay, if we are correct, and this is just redrive, right now we had this little accumulation, we sub the lows, sub the highs, but now this candle of 10:45, the body is closing below the body of 10 a.m. We are creating CISD right here, so if we are looking for, you know, bearish setup or for shorts, this is the entry that we are looking for. Doesn't matter that we are in this accumulation and the wicks look scary and disgusting. Doesn't matter because body tells the story, not wicks. Wicks do damage. So now if we still want to see lows to be taken at least one more time, which to be honest I want to see at least some internals to be taken, this is the good start for the shorts. In terms of our stop loss, still we can have more wicks right here, meaning we just as well might put it right here at a high of 10-15 candle, because that should act as protected high at least for now. Okay, we just retested that CISD right here, candle closing lower, we are again escaping the range, so we want to see further distribution. What I told you before, closure below that 730, basically we could also say this is our bigger time frame CISD right there. Okay, we are still closing below everything. Since we're closing right here, we should be looking for us taking the 1 a.m. low, most possibly, and then possibly we could see even further distribution lower if we'll be able to close below that 1 a.m. Yeah, okay, so this is lunch, okay. So now we can definitely take at least one off, if not the whole position. Okay, we sub the lows right here. We sub then, we'll see what the next candle will do. It will sub that candle. Okay. If you guys see candle like this, more time than not, we will take the wick of that candle again, and then more time than not we'll put some sort of manipulation. I'm not saying that's the case, but what I saw in the market, you know, if you have candle with such huge wick, we will take the wick, the low or the high of the wick again. Yep, there it goes. Also, we are taking the orange line right here. We can, you know, close our position over here. Yeah, thank you MSD and have a great weekend. Yep. Right. So now we took these internals right here. We are kind of rebalancing the range also right there. Okay, same thing. This candle is closing above the high of the previous candle or the opening price of it. meaning if then scenarios, if we are bullish, we need to see closure of 1245. Once we get that, we could be arguing the higher prices equal the range, which would be around here, or you know, the highs again. Until that, every move higher is just a rebalance. Right now we are in 50% of the range high of 1245 to the range low of 130, meaning no touch area right now. Okay, now internal soup at the highs. If we'll be able to close below that 230 candle, that is a next possible entry for shorts to take the lows again, possibly to target that orange line right here. Hey, we are doing a backtesting session of 2018 PA, so yeah. So again, internal sub right here, closure below. You could be in a short right there, targeting at least the 130 wick or the 130 low. Okay, we are kind of getting slower and slower PA right here. Internal sub at the high. Internal sub at the low. We are getting small candles going higher, but it's also because of the time. So for now, no touch until we close above the 245, or you know, until we create some order block or something. I believe we just rebalance the range right there. Yeah, by a tick. Okay. Internal sub at the highs. Okay, I'm not touching this until just escape the range. We are still respecting the EQ and OT basically for bearish order flow. Internal sub at the highs. We are building LR below us. Also, we are gonna just retracing to the OTE. Inside the OTE, we also do have this order block. So we'll see if we'll be able to touch it and possibly run that LR again. If not, and we are bullish, the closure above that 245 will be the confirmation of that. Okay, so now we are tapping that order block on the left. Do you see 1, 2, 3, 4 straight up candles out of nowhere, you know, tapping the point of interest on the left? The closure below there should bring us basically to the low of the LR, possibly to the lows again. Or we just have this big ass candle. Oh, that's huge week. Okay. And what I told you, I think with this candle, if you see the big candle with even bigger wick, like this for example, more time than not, the wick will be taken. I'm not saying you'll take it right away, but at some point in the future we'll take the wick of the candle again. Also the wick kind of sub the orange line right here, so we can delete that one. Now closure about that 630 candle, I'll be looking for possibly retesting that 445 or possibly EQ over the candle. And if you are bearish, the closure below 645 should be the next part of the move. Possibly we could be targeting 50% of the wick or the wick low. Okay, we are closing below that. Is this the best setup that we can have right here? Not really, but it's something that makes sense to me right now. To stop at the candle high or at a wick of 7 p.m. You can confirm that. In terms of TP, again, we might target at 50% or possibly even below. We will see. Okay, straight away we hit 50% of the wick. We can, I mean, yeah, we can take one off. We'll take one off right there. We'll leave our stop right above that 745 candle. Internal sub right there. The closure below that 830 candle, I'll be looking for possible lower prices. Okay, we are closing below. Also, we can kind of reduce our risk and put it right there. So now again we are supping the lows right here. The closure above 845, I would be a little cautious for shorts. And the closure below that 1030 candle, I will be looking for the low to be taken, or the low of that wick to be taken, to be exact. Okay, we can kind of reduce our risk to that high of 1 a.m. Also, internal soup, the candle closing a little above that 130 candle, and we do have 3 smooth highs right here. So right now we might as well get stopped in a profit. Okay, so we are taking the internal highs right there, also the high of that 845 candle. If we take the range high to the range low, we hit 50%, tapping the OTE. So we'll see how we'll react. Also, we might as well just tap the order block right there of 645. Okay, internal soup. Candles are getting a little smaller. the same thing, the candle is closing below that previous candle, meaning I will be expecting at least 50% of the range to be tapped, or possibly the lows to be taken again. Also, if we are bullish, possible manipulation, soup, possible creating the fair swing. For that, we would like to see the 1 AM hold if we are looking for any longs.
Pitbull.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. Let me interrupt you.
For sure.
Quick question. So you're saying the manipulation can be a manipulation without taking liquidity? Just can be a failure swing?
I mean, we took the internals right there. Sometimes
Oh,
it's all
gotcha.
we need.
Gotcha. Yeah, gotcha.
But I'm still playing that idea that I want to see us taking that wick of this candle again. So that's the reason why, I just put it there. Like, this could be manipulation, total fair swing, just for us to have, always the opposite idea in our mind. But if, for example, if this would be the order block and now we would get to the closure below that 330 candle, meaning this would be the OB for us, I would be looking for the lows to be taken again. If not, and we will take the high of 3 AM candle, then I will be looking for possibly taking these internal highs right here and possibly revisiting that 445 candle lows right here, basically the BPR right there. So those are just the ideas, in my head that I'm playing out right now. Basically what I'm seeing.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Right there.
Sorry, one
Yep.
more quick question, Pitbull. How long do you think you're gonna go for? Because I have an appointment, but I'm gonna cancel it. How long do you think you're gonna go for?
I mean, I'm not sure, bro. Like, we are here in
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good. I'll be here.
I mean, if you need to go, like, yeah, we can do it also tomorrow. I don't care, to be honest. Like, we've been here for 6 hours. For me it's like midnight, so I don't care.
That's awesome. All right, buddy. I'll just keep.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, again, internal soup of the previous candle. This candle is closing the order block, the same exact thing that I went just over. So now I will be looking for us to take the lows again. Also, I will just delete all this FIP from here because, yeah, just a noise for now. Okay. So now we can enter not 12 but 2. So now, where my stop loss should go? Right there, of 245, or to that 345 candle high. I mean, not the wrong answer. The safe place, more safe place would be that 245. But right now, I'm pretty good with having my stop at high of 345 candle. Why? Because we just sub the high of the previous candle, and the same candle is basically closing below that 330 candle, creating the order block right there. So for now, we should not come back to that high again. So we can just put it right here, a little above. And now, the easy target, the most easy target for us, if you are still bearish, should be that 145 candle low. And then, if you'll be able to take that, I would be looking for finally taking that wick of 6 PM candle. Also, you can see that we are not respecting by any means that CISD level right there. We are not respecting the 50% of the bullish range anymore, and we are just slicing through that. Also, right now we are closing below the 145 candle. So I will be definitely looking for the low to be taken, low of that wick. And if you're looking for, taking the partials, for sure, like, you can take it even here, once we took the lows on the left. Like, there is nothing wrong with taking the partial. There we go. We took the low of that 6 PM candle. So now we can take one off. And we can be just looking if we will be able to take that orange line right here. Internal sub at the lows. internal sub at the highs, internal sub at the lows. Okay, so now we are just basically in accumulation. Internal sub. Okay, now this might be for now the low for us to at least rebalance the range, possibly the BPR or anything. I'm just coming off. We took kind of external. We are taking the internal right now. We are closing above that 545 candle. Also, this is another signature of the lows and tops of the move. So yeah. Right now, if we will be able to close below that 6 a.m., we should take the lows again and the orange line. If not, and we'll just flip this candle, I will be looking for little higher prices. Also, this is our current range right here. Internal soup. We are not closing yet, but yeah, this should go a little higher. Internal sub at the highs, we are nearly tapping that EQ of the range. Now we are closing, so in ideal world we need to see some sort of reaction if we are still bearish. Also we can see like this move is little sus. Like for now it's nothing wrong with it, it's just little, So now on the other hand, closure below that 745, I would be then still looking for the lows to be taken. Okay, we are closing below 745. Now we can reduce our risk and we can put our stop loss at the high of that 830 candle or 815 candle. Doesn't really matter. Also, we are really close to the market open again, meaning we we will see. We might take the highs again, at least the internal ones. Yeah, okay. So now market open, we sub the lows and we basically just ran through the highs again. We created CISD right here. As we can know, like the market open CISD are stronger than the usual ones. We will see if this one will hold. Okay, internal sub at the high. Nearly flipped the whole candle. Okay, so now the next candle will either close strongly above this little range, kind of confirming that we want to go higher, or this is the top possible, might sub the high again one more time to then just push it back lower. Okay, so now the closure below 10 a.m. I will be looking for at least internals to be taken. Okay, we are closing right here. Would I take a short targeting the lows? I mean, if it's your model, nothing wrong with that. Me personally, I will be I will be waiting right now. Okay, we are taking the internals right here. We might possibly take the low of 545. Okay, so now again, if we will be able to close above that 10.45, I'm more bullish. If we will be able to close below that 11.30, basically flipping that candle, I'll be looking for the orange line to be taken, possibly, you know, these lines below. Right, so now we are escaping the range, we are closing strongly above. To be honest, like, there is nothing wrong with slapping even right here if you are trading CSD like that. Because like we know, basically CSDs, you know, we might just close above the CSD level and just run, or we'll experience the retest of the CSD and then run higher if you are on the correct side of the market. So there is nothing wrong with any of them. We can enter right here. We can put our stop loss to the below of this candle, even though it's inside another FEG. So by DJ teachings, it should be at least at 11.30 low. So now we retested the CSD level, and in the best case scenario we should just run right here. If not, we might go to the 50% of it, which I would not be a huge fan of. Yep, okay, there's our distribution higher. So now, since we are closing right here, where is the liquidity? I mean, at the highs.
At the high.
Yeah, that's the only thing right now. I mean, there is nothing wrong with targeting the 50% of this range, of the overall range, but I mean, we should be at 50% already. Yeah. Okay. We may also target the 50% of the gap, possibly the BRP level, BPG, no, BRP, yeah. Which in that scenario is around here. Yeah, it's also aligned, so okay, so now we are tapping the previous lows on the left, also the 50% of the candle body range, meaning we can take one off right here just to be safe, because usually we just don't run through that, through these candles like this. We might, but just to be safe, we took one off. Also, I don't want to see us necessarily go below that order block of 12 PM, meaning we can reduce our risk right here. Also, this is the current range that we are playing at. Oh, we can put it from low to the high. Okay. Okay, so now we are closing above that 1 PM candle, meaning I want to see higher. I want to see some bullish PA right here. Okay, super the high. Not a huge fan of that. Internal sub, the candle closing above that previous one of 230 candle. Now I would like to see us taking the highs again, possibly pushing us back, you know, for these highs on the left. Because what? There is the liquidity that we should be aiming for. Okay, strong closure, escaping the range. This is the confirmation, meaning we can, since we are in trade already, we can just, you know, reduce our risk, put our stop to break even. Or I'm thinking, I don't necessarily want to see us coming back to that 315 candle. Why? because then if we would come back, this could be our sort of manipulation to just rebalance the range, look at the internals, blah blah blah, you know. So for now, I don't want to see us coming back to that 315 candle. Internal soup. Okay, so now we soup the highs again. We're kind of starting to have little LR below us. I mean, we are really close to that high. We don't need to be a D4 tick, so we can just take it over right there, just to be safe. Also right now, internal soup right there, closing below this little range. We might experience some sort of retracement just based on those candles. Okay, so EQ of the small range is aligned with the previous highs, which is nice to see. If you take this range low, which is low to range high. Okay, it's a little over. Okay. Okay. So now, if you're thinking about this as for intermediate high for now, the closure below that 745, like as we close right now, this could be the spark or the move to rebalance the range. I'm not sure if we're going for the lows again, not yet. I'm not sure yet about it, but right now I'll be looking for rebalance the 50% of the range, either the smaller one, the internal one, or the overall range. Either one of those should be rebalanced since we are closing like we are closing right now. Meaning then, depending on your risk and everything, you know, you might take it or you might just wait away and just kind of, just wait, you know, for the next model. Also, time-wise, I'm not expecting some sort of huge moves. But still, since we are going from, you know, from the candle closure and everything, we should go lower right now. Okay. So now, if we are bearish, we should hold the previous lows, meaning this line should hold. Okay. And then also the closure build at 9 p.m. should be a little spark or the move going lower, possibly retesting this order block on the left. Why I'm saying order block? Because this is accumulation, and every accumulation is order block on a bigger time frame. So yeah. Yep, so our closure, we are going lower. Okay, now if we'll be able to close below that 3 a.m. candle, I will be personally looking for us taking at least these lows on the left. If not, and we will just flip this candle, I will looking for the highs to be taken again. At least these smooth highs right here, but most probably the overall high right there. We can also delete this orange line for now. We are closing above. Not necessarily a huge fan of how we close. Basically, we just print 4 conservative candles. Split the highs, okay. Okay, so now we rebalance the short range. Basically, even if you take the internal high or the lower high right here, we just hit 50%, and now we are rebalancing the bullish range. Meaning right now there's no touch area for me, because what can happen right now, this might as well be just kind of, you know, we are escaping the range, we are closing lower, we just might take it low again right here, or we just may go, you know, a little deeper, take for example this internal low, and then push it back higher to take, you know, these internals, let's say retested it and take the internals right here. So right now I'm not touching anything until we close below that 3 a.m. or close above 5:45. Okay, internal sub with lows. Okay, 8:30. There was some news at the day. We are souping the highs right here, the internal ones. From the range low to the range high, we just hit 50%. The 9:30. The 9:30 basically just push us lower to the OTE, soup the highs again. Right now this is still no touch for me. Okay, now the closure build at 7 a.m. I would like to see us taking, you know, the price even lower. Internal soup. I mean, you could argue like even now, but since we are going from you know, candle closures, I wouldn't be entering right now. I want to see closure below to have sort of, you know, bigger confirmation. But even here, you know, internal soup, once the price was pushing lower below that market open price, you could slap the right there, just put your stop at the high and you should be good. But now we'll just wait for a bit. Okay, we are closing right here. Again, we are closing below at 7 a.m. We should go just lower. But also our stop would need to be at the highs, which right now I'm not really comfortable risking like 90 points, even though we are on 50-minute time frame. So yeah, again, just what, you know, chart is telling us, we should go lower. Doesn't mean that we need to take a trade. We just, you know, may as well just look at it and be comfortable with it until we get something aligned with our models and the risk that we want to have. 10:45. So now, if you are still thinking bearish, the closure below that 10:45 candle, you know, creating the possible order block, blah blah blah, then I'll be looking for the lows to be taken again, possibly the orange line, and so on and so on. Okay, strong candle, which is nice to see. still, we should go lower. This is kind of confirmation for it, but we don't need to take everything, every single trade. Kind of the same thing, right? Like here, you know, this same thing right there. Meaning, if you're entering right here, you could most probably just put your stop at that 11:45 candle high, and you should be pretty okay. Now, if you're bullish, or if you want to rebalance the range, we need to see at least closure above 11:45. If you are still bearish, you know, we need to flip that 12:45 candle, creating the order block. Then I will be looking for the smooth lows right here and the orange line. Internal sub at the highs. Okay. Now, this is pretty good spot for entry. Even though we are in deep premium in terms of shorts, but still, if you are correct, we should at least take these lows. Then you need to ask yourself, does it make sense, you know, from the risk reward standpoint? If yes, you will take it. If not, you will just stay away and just watch. Again, you have multiple entries that you could took, you know, we were just waiting for something more clean, and right now we should at least take these lows. The closure below the candle, kind of confirmation for us to take the things even lower. Now we are also tapping that orange line, so we can either take the whole thing off or we can just take the one off. Doesn't really matter, since we are pretty much in the late PM, we can just take it off and just be content. We can also delete this orange line and we can just continue. Internal soup. Okay, pushing things a little higher. Three equal lows right there. I was looking for us to take them again. Okay, so now, even though we have pretty small candles and everything, the closure above 9 PM should mean that we are going higher, at least to take some internals. Definitely like closing that end dock. If we will be able to close below that sorry, 10-15, I will be looking for orange line to be taken, at least one of them. Okay, we're kind of taking liquidity, we're on the closing. Okay, now we are closing, but it's not the best one. Also for consecutive candles. We missed EQ of the range by a tick. Also we are in OT of this little range. So now the candle closure above 130, I'm more bullish. The candle closure below 0030, I would be more bearish, looking for the lows to be taken one more time. Yeah, okay, we should go higher right now. We can even enter right here, just put our stop to that 145 candle low. So now in terms of targets, to be honest, the first TP, like you could take one after we close that new day's opening gap or new week's opening gap. I would be personally looking for this week to be taken one more time, and then possibly we do have this sort of LRLR build up right here. Okay. Okay, so now we are respecting or kind of retesting that previous CSD out of that 130. So now if we'll be able to flip that candle of 345, I'll be looking for the high to be taken again, and then I'll be looking for, you know, even higher prices. Internal soup, kind of closing like this. If we are not in a trade already, this might be pretty good long opportunity. Basically enter right here, put your stop to the candle low, and you should be more than okay. At least for you know, the internal highs to be taken again, meaning the 3 AM candle. But then I'll be looking for possibly taking the high of this accumulation again, possibly the wick again. Internal soup, kind of closing higher, the high should be taken. Right there, perfect. Also 3 consecutive candles, taking the internals, we can take one off, at least one off. And we can also reduce our risk. I mean, the closure below that 530 would be a little sus for me, so right now we can also go to the break even. Also we can see that we are just building LRLR all the way right here.
Yeah, I get smacked here a lot.
In these type of ranges?
Like at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean right now it's more like closure below that 530. I'll be looking for the lows to be taken. Even though this is just a rebalance and we'll just push it back higher again.
Yeah, I feel like if we are gonna just continue up, it's gonna be slow, small candles, you know? No speed, usually.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could as well be just, you know, us tapping that order block on the left right here.
Yeah, just drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also could be, you know, that setup that I'm referring to pretty often, just staircase into the OT, into the soup, inside the OT, and then just drop. But we will see. Also again right here, you know, you have that candle closing below that previous candle opening. meaning we can kind of expect at least some sort of rebalance. Internal sub right there. And your line hold perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we are closing strongly about at 6:15. I mean, possibly we could take that wick again. Take that wick, possibly even higher. But still, I'm not a huge fan of us having, you know, this LRLR online right here. Okay, 8:30. In an hour, we are going to have market open. $9.15. Okay, so market open will either have closure below the 7:30, meaning I will be looking for lows to be taken again, or we'll have just sort of rebalance of this little range. Okay, 9:30 open. Basically, we took the highs, we took the wick, and we are closing above. So now we'll either have distribution higher, or we will be able to flip this candle and just continue lower. Okay. So now since we are closing below 9:30, I don't necessarily want to see us coming back again for those highs. I'm more bearish than bullish. At least until we take the lows again. But still, would I enter just out of this? Not really. I need to see more. Okay, even right now, like closing below the 10 a.m. I mean, entry right here, the stop above the candle and the TP basically for these lows. It doesn't sound so bad to me, you know, but again, it's risk to reward, like, yeah, it depends if you want to take it or not. Basically, this would be your trade, so it's up to you if it does make sense to you or not. Yeah. Internal soup right there. 4 consecutive candles, taking the liquidity on the left, taking the internals. Now we rebalance the range for shorts. So now, if this just rebalance, we should take easily, you know, take lows again. If not, and it will just close above that 11:45 candle, I will be looking for possible rebalance higher, possibly taking the highs again, and so on and so on. Also, internal sub right there. Yeah, the candle closure like this. We should go for the highs. But again, the same thing, you know, enter right there. Your stop is what? Nearly 70 points. And your TP is like 43. So now you will either wait for some sort of rebalance. You know, we might as well put OB right there. But yeah, right now it doesn't make really sense to me just to enter right there, TP right here, stop loss below. It doesn't make much sense. Here we're getting a little slower candles. internal soup below. We are not closing yet about that 115. We just soup the internals. Now we are closing. So now if we want to go higher, we might put our stop loss below that 130 candle, but then we need to look for targets on the left. Like we do have this little internal high right here that we might target. Also this here, and yeah, after that, if we will be able to close above these little highs, I will be possibly looking for the overall high to be taken. Internal soup. So now I would like to see us, closing again above that 245. Yep, we closed and we did not take yet the highs already here. We just kind of created the equals. And now there is, yeah, okay. So just based on the time, I do not expect some huge candles, at least for now. What is nice to see, we are accumulating basically above the previous highs, meaning I still can want to see higher rather than lower. So if you just drew the line right here, it would be easier to see. We took internal highs, so now we can kind of expect that we might take internal lows. Internal highs again. So now closure above 245, we could possibly run higher. Again, I'm not a huge fan that we just basically build up LRLR right here. But if we want to go lower, we might as well just take some sort of internals. We do have these perfect equal highs right here, so we as well just may take that and push it back lower. We'll see if we get that closure. Yeah, we did. So we can enter right here. We can put our stop loss below that same exact candle of 430. Now in terms of TPs, I'll be looking for these equal highs to be taken, and after that we will see maybe that BPR. Yeah, we will see. Okay, we are closing strongly of these highs. We will take one off. And now, like, it's more like we need to see how we react once we tapped these previous highs, or previous lows, sorry. Because other than that, the only liquidity is at the top. Okay, beautiful delivery, okay. Not a huge fan of those candles right here. Okay. So now we created the order block. What does it mean? If we are in trade, we can put our stop loss to that order block low, just to kind of protect ourselves. Also time wise, 8:45, we are near market open. Also what you can see basically from the morning, or let's say from Asia, accumulation, possible manipulation, maybe. If not, you know, we are running basically from London, we are just running higher, so we might experience some sort of retracement or something around New Game. Yeah. Now the closure below that 8:15 candle, that could bring a little, you know, just question mark in my head, like, is this manipulation? I mean, possibly it might be. We did not take, you know, any how to say it, we did not take any important liquidity, but we rebalanced the previous range. We basically rebalanced the whole thing right here, and again we are just running basically from the London, from Asia. So the closure right there might be a good spot for possibly short for at least rebalance of the range. Also time wise, New York open, we are sweeping the lows. Okay, so now closure above the highs, I'm looking for the highs to be taken. Okay, not a huge fan of that. And we are out. Also, right now, this is our range that we are playing in. Basically, this swing low, this swing high. Okay, in terms of bearish ranges, the swing high to the swing low, we just rebalanced that, meaning the closure below 10-15 candle, I would like to see us going lower. Okay, we are closing below that 10-15, meaning I want to see us coming lower, but we need to have in our minds we just hit 50% of the bullish range. Okay, yeah, just leave one. And in terms of our targets, I want to see how we react once we tap basically the high of this accumulation. If we'll just slice through it, we might as well go for the internal lows right here. The closure below this order block, pretty good thing to see if you are in shorts. Oh, L4 now just delete these lines, so it would be a little easier for us to see everything. Okay, internal soup. Beautiful confirmation. Okay, there is our lunch. So now we tapped the high of that order block on the left, basically the high of this accumulation, meaning we might as well just took it all right here, or we can try our stop. We can put our stop to the candle high over the high of that 1145. Retest of the previous highs. We are pushing a little higher. Also a little too zoomed in. This is the range high, this is the range low. We just hit 50%. Closing below. So now I would like to see us coming back for these internals right here. Yep, okay. We can also trail our stop. There we go, we're taking the internals right there, so we can take even the last contract off, or basically the only contract that we have. So now, two scenarios. Where is it? Here. if you are still bullish, we will just take the internals right here, possibly the internal right there, and we will just run it back higher. Or what may as well happen, we just closed below the internals right here, meaning we might as well just rebalance the bearish range right there, close, and that would be kind of confirmation that we want to go lower again. So those two scenarios are currently playing in our mind. So now the closure above the 1245 could be the start of move for the longs. Okay, pretty good. Also, I believe we just basically passed through 50% slash OD. Yeah, we are on OD right now. Internal sub right there. Also, we rebalance the range for shorts. Now we are rebalancing the range for longs right here. So now either we will just bounce from that OTE and the closure above here would mean that we are going for the highs, or we'll close below that 215 candle, meaning we should then go a little lower, possibly for the lows right here. It's the same thing that I just drew a few minutes ago. The same exact scenarios. Okay, so now I don't now need the closure above 315. Right now it will be enough if you will be just able to close above that 430 candle high. We are souping the liquidity, or we are taking some sort of liquidity, also rebalancing the range from 330 high to the 455 low. So now still we need to see the closure. We soup the previous candle low, and now we are also closing over that 430 candle, meaning we can enter right here. We can technically put our stop to that low of 7 p.m. candle, or to the low of the order book. Doesn't really matter, they are too close to it. So yeah. Now in terms of targets, outside scared partial would be this high, or that 530, oh sorry, the 330. But then if you are correct, we should take the high right here, and then possibly I'll be looking for these kind of, it's not equal, it's just smooth highs right here. Also, this day will be probably the last one, or maybe this trade, we'll see, because it's already 1 AM for me, so creating order block right there, souping the highs for now. So now we might take a partial right here. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, so we can take one off right here. Also time wise, I'm not expecting that we'll have some big ranges or anything right now, so we might just as well accumulate. Okay, we're closing right now with the highs. 6 consecutive candles, internal sub at the lows, respecting order block on the left. The candle is closing above the opening range or opening price of the previous candle. Now this is the confirmation for higher. So now if you are not in any trade, the enter right here, the stop below 4 AM candle. The easy target should be the high of 830. That's the easy target. Since we are already in a trade, we can put our stop below this candle, because if we are correct, we should just run right here. Since we closed above that high, I don't really want to see us coming back to, you know, any of this. I just want to see us taking the high right there. We are retesting the previous highs on the left. Also, where's the fib? Swing low to the swing high. Okay, we just made by I think this 50%. Okay, now the closure like this, creating CISD. If we are bullish, this need to stay intact. So technically we can reduce our risk even more, and we can secure even more profits right here. We can just confirm right there, and creating equal highs. 830, 9. Okay, perfect. So now we closed above this high on the left. We are closing strongly. We are not just souping that. Meaning, with the market open around the corner, I would like to see us taking these 3 equal highs. Sorry, smooth highs on the left.
Super quick, Pitbull.
Yep.
Just real quick, how come you just a question, how come you knew that we wouldn't soup your stop loss again? Like you moved your stop to that low?
Right here?
Just like why you said, just because of the order block, or
I mean,
like, why couldn't we come soup that again?
We might. It's just I don't want to see us coming back to it, because then it will be a little more sus for me, you know, in terms of longs. Because after this candle, if you would just go back here, that would be really, really bearish for me. Even before that, like right here, for example, after this candle, we hit 50% of this range. We are respecting the bullish order flow, and we are creating CISD right now, basically with that candle of 715, and we have further distribution of 730. So then the closure below that candle would be still more bearish than bullish to me, because if you are bullish, we should be respecting that CISD level.
Right. Gotcha.
So yeah, so that's the idea behind it. And now with the time and everything, we are closing about that previous structure on the left, and the market open, you know, around the corner. I want to see us taking the highs right here, meaning most probably we can just put our TP right here around that position. With the market open, you know, we might as well just soup the highs, and you know, the same candle can just flip. It's kind of difficult on the 15-minute to predict what it'll be do, but yeah, that's just me talking. Okay, so now we are basically re-tapping that previous highs on the left, meaning I don't necessarily want to see deep retracement. Okay, that's kind of deep, but those are just wicks. Basically we soup those again, and wicks do damage. Like these wicks are what? Yeah, 23 points. And so now again, Rose, like we are closing above those previous highs, meaning I don't want to see us coming back to these lows again. So if I would put my stop loss right here, you know, it's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, it's aligned with my plan overall. Like if you go back to it, like, yeah, we might soup it and we just might as well come back in the same candle. But for me, you know, for my plan right now, I don't want to see us coming back down. Okay. Again, we retapped that order block on the left. We are again pushing and closing higher. Nice. Okay, so now we took these little highs on the left. We still have that. Oh, we even took that last one. Okay. So now technically we can just close the trade and be done. And now again, we took liquidity on the left. We are just running basically, you know, from London we are just running. So now we took liquidity on the left. Closure below 12.15, possibly 12.45. That could be the start for a retracement lower. Now we are closing below. Yeah. So now if you want to jump at the gun a little bit, you know, even enter here, stop loss at the high, and the TP, the 50% of the range from the 945 to the high. So right now, since we are closing like we are closing, the 50% should be hit, all the high of that order block of 10.15. Yep. And even now, like, I don't think we hit 50% of the range. It doesn't seem like it. Yeah. We can rebalance it, but the candle closure like this, we should go lower even more. The easy target should be the low of 7 a.m. That's the easy one. And then possibly, you know, we have swing low right here and even more liquidity down there. So yep, confirmation. Okay. But alright, boys. Yeah, sorry. We just hit basically 50% of the previous range. We have accumulation and closure like this. About this with accumulation, I would be personally expecting us taking the highs again, at least the internal ones, if not the overall highs. But the easy target right now should be the high right here, meaning you could enter right there. You can put your stop below the previous candle low because that's the soup, and your TP. You could go for that little high of 3 p.m. There we go. Nice. Alright. Alright guys, it's 1 a.m. for me. I will end this session right here. So yeah, I hope you kind of enjoyed it, you know, found some value in it. And yeah, I think I kind of showcased like the price is really fractal and we can trade any fractal with the knowledge that we have.
Appreciate it, Pitbull. Thank you.
For sure. Do you guys have any questions about anything I did right now? Or not really?
I think we're pretty good. Just yeah, I think we're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like it's, you know, it's the same thing that I'm doing on 1 minute. It's the same thing over and over again, you know, looking at how candles are closing, where is liquidity, if then scenarios. To be honest, Latova, I did not notice like any significant, you know, difference. to be honest. I mean, it's the price is doing what it should be doing, so there won't be any difference even if you go to the 2012 or 2013. It's the same thing over and over again. The algo is respecting the algo, so everything we know, like soups and all of that, is the same every single time. Yeah, exactly.
So, one question: you need a valid soup to create a CISD, correct?
Yeah,
Or
like CISD
yeah,
without soup, it doesn't have so much strength in it.
yeah, gotcha.
It's always better to have CISD aligned with soup. But I mean, you will find many examples in DJ's reviews about it, or even in the chat, I believe. So yeah. All right, boys. I'm going to sleep. So yep. Thank you for being here with me for so long time, and yeah, see you around.
Appreciate it. Have
Yeah.
a good rest of your weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.